Hello everyone, this is Jeremy and welcome to episode 11 of Levitated. With any luck, today will be the day that we set up our orchid endium and start automatically producing the ender ores. And then once we have that done, we can do the nether variant of it. There's a orchid, what's it called? Orchid ignum, which is the nether variant of the orchid. It makes another ores. In fact, we might even need the nether ore one more because it produces nickel ore for us, and I haven't found a nickel vein yet. But let's start with the end one because it involves less having to move stuff around. Last video, we set up our flowers here to make mana from TNT. So there's a bunch of entropiniums here that absorb the explosion of TNT up there, and then it runs until our mana pool is full. Now, this is just one mana pool. I would like to buffer more than one mana pool of mana. That's one thing. And two, we need some way to use this mana to actually power the orchid. So what I think I want to do is I want to make some room this way and set up a mana battery. A mana battery would just be a whole bunch of mana pools linked to this one. We can then put an augment on this mana pool to make it a lower priority than our mana battery. So this will send mana to the battery. I guess we'll make it out of endstone, because why not? Well, no, I don't want to make it out of endstone, because the orchid turns nearby endstone into ores. So I want to make it out of something that doesn't get turned into ores. And I guess for that, do we have anything funny to build it out of? We build it out of glowstone. I was gonna say, like, if we had a whole bunch of diamond blocks, I would use that, but 30 is probably not enough. Alright, let's just build it out of stone. For this mana battery, I'm going to use 25 mana pools. I have a couple extras, a bunch of sparks. 34 seems like a good number. One recessive, that's dominant. One recessive spark augment, and a handful of dominant ones. Let's go with 3 for now. I also want an alchemy catalyst, and I want to upgrade one of these into a conjuration catalyst. So we have one of each. All right, here's a little room for it. So each mana pool holds quite a bit of mana, but there are some things like Terra Steel, the Orchid, I'm sure there's more, that just use up a tremendous amount of mana. And for those systems, I like having a lot of mana on hand. So 25 pools should do the trick. Put a spark on that and a spark on each of these. That's why we need so many sparks. Sparks will not send mana to each other if they are of the same priority. So sparks have 3 priority types. Dominant, recessive, and normal. Right now, all of our sparks are normal, so they don't send mana to each other. Did I get every single one? I feel like I missed one. No, looks good to me, right? Alright, I believe it. So by putting the recessive one on this, on the spark. Can I click the spark? Do I have to go to the cable to click the spark? Maybe there's an angle to get it? Let's just get rid of the cable. Of course, that turns the explosions back on. Alright, with that, it sends mana to all the mana pools. The mana sending speed is per connection. So because there's a bunch of connections from 1 spark to 25 sparks, it's capable of sending mana extremely quickly. This mana pool appears to be empty, which leads me to believe that I didn't put a spark here. No, maybe it just appears empty. I don't think it's actually empty. I don't know, whatever. If it turns out we have 24 mana pools worth of mana, I guess we'll live. So anyways, what's happening now is that this system will keep generating mana until this mana pool fills up. That was the old behavior, but this mana pool can almost instantly empty itself into here. So these mana pools here form the bulk of the battery. Now I'm going to head back down to here and set up a couple crafting pools. So I want 2 mana pools that are just used for, well, I guess 3 mana pools that are just used for throwing things into, right? One with a conjuration catalyst, one with an alchemy catalyst, and one just without a catalyst. They have to be within a certain distance of the sparks. I think sparks have about a 12 block radius in each direction. So this is sufficiently close. But that's not the mana pool. Here's where the other spark augment comes in. Those mana pools that form up our mana bank are of normal priority. And right now, because these are also of normal priority, that mana pool, our primary pool, is sending mana into here. But this will fill slowly, right? It's only filling with 3/28 of the total mana we produce. If I put dominant augments on each of these, normal priority pools will send their mana to dominant priority pools. So we see these fill up now relatively quickly. It might be, I might have placed them a little far. They might not be getting mana from the back ones here. No, it looks like they are. It's weird because when you try to look through a spark at a mana pool, it doesn't render the mana behind it. But whatever. Point is, now we have plenty of mana to use for crafting, right? We can throw items into here. What's a duplicatable item? This has a recipe. If I want sand for whatever reason, this mana pool will basically always be full. It's not full right now just because, you know, we've only generated this, what, like 2.5 mana pools of mana since we turned that system back on. But we saw last video that we produce a mana pool in like 2 minutes, which is ridiculously fast. All right, so that's the mana for crafting. Now I need mana to power an orchid. The orchid has to be far enough away from the cobble, or from the end stone, right? That we don't transform the end stone down here into ores. I also want it close enough to this crafter here that I can just grab, not that crafter, this crafter, that I can grab the end stone from it and place it. So I'm thinking let's expand the platform, I guess this way a bit, and I'll expand it that way a bit, and then we can set our orchid up over there. Following a similar setup here, I need a mana pool with a spark and a dominant augment on this. So this will pull mana once again from there, and look at how darn quick that mana pool fills up. That's how fast you can fill a mana pool if you have a lot of mana pools feeding it and sufficient mana. So this will serve as the mana pool that powers our orchid. I made our orchid into the floating variant just so that we could more easily place it without dirt. And when you place it, it automatically links to the nearest mana pool. So it's linked to here. And it's not running right now because there's no end stone in range. If I place some, it should turn it into ore. And then all we have to do is mine it. So I want to set up a system now that every now and then, well, it places an ore, waits a couple seconds, and then mines it. And we have to use the end stone that we produce down there. All right, so let's use... I'm trying to think of what system I want to use for this. How about let's use it? Well, I would definitely want to mine it with this pickaxe, or a pickaxe that has auto smelt and fortune. That way we can just get the ingots, because I'd rather have the ingots than the dust. And I want to make sure we have the fortune effect when we break that stuff, lapis, because that's what we did this entire project for. So I guess we won't use integrated dynamics. We'll just use timers and like block placers and mechanical users. Instead of a block placer, I'll just use another mechanical user. So I haven't run the item conduit yet up yet, but item conduit will supply end stone to here. This is on place block mode, which places a block. Then we have another mechanical user with a pickaxe, use item on block mode, left click. Basically, this is how you do a mechanical breaker that uses a tool. So the trick is that we have to only power this when either we detect that this block is not end stone or air, and that no, I guess that's it. When this block is not end stone or air, that, or we can just power it on a timer. And I think the timer is going to be slightly easier. I'm going to try out the Ender Isle timer because this needs to be not just powered, but I think it needs to be powered. If we set it to pulse, does it mine one item per tick? Or per pulse, regardless of how long it takes to actually mine the item? Let's test that. If that's actually the way it works, we don't need to use fancy redstone timers. We're going to use the Britannia timers. In fact, let's try that out. So that's a hourglass. Mana glass. Should have glass somewhere, right? Use our new mana pools. And then I believe to set its time in seconds, we need to use regular sand. So if we put 5 regular sand in it, it ticks every 5 seconds. you can use, I think it's like red sand or soul sand or something for different timer lengths. Like one of them does minutes or something. I forget the exact details, but it gives you a lot of granular control over the hourglass. All right, so let's see if this just works. I also have a vacuum chest here that picks up the items when it's done, and that does seem to work. So every 5 seconds, this will mine the ore. This will immediately place a new one, and the orchid every 5 seconds will create, will turn this piece of end zone basically into an ore to be mined. So now we have automatic production of all the resources that can come from the orchid. It's still, like, most of this stuff is not terribly interesting because we could already make it through other means, but eventually we're going to get lapis from this, and lapis is a real prize here. I'm going to set up a bunch of compacting drawers to store this all in. I don't want to store it in the same set of drawers as that because those drawers will eventually fill up and back stuff to turn off our DML machines, whereas I never want this drawer to fill up. If it fills up, we have to void stuff at least until we're full on lapis. But yeah, just like this, actually, our orchid automation is basically done. Oh, also I noticed why this mana pool here appears to be empty. It actually is empty. It's connected to the mana spreader there, so any mana that goes into this pool gets shot back into the mana pool, which gets sent back to here, and it ends up in a loop. So I'm just going to get rid of that one. We're going to have a 24, we'll put it, just to annoy people, we'll put it over here so that nothing is symmetrical anymore, and you'll have a 25 mana, or 25 pool mana buffer. No lapis. Yeah, I'm gonna let this run a little while and see how long it takes for us to get lapis. If lapis is exceptionally rare, this might not work quite as well as I had hoped. I did some quick back of the napkin style math and estimated that in order to run 5 simulation chambers, so let's start from the beginning. Each simulation chamber uses 1 piece of polymer clay every 301 ticks. We'll call it 300, it simplifies the math a little bit. That means that to run 5 simulation chambers at 100% uptime, we need to make 1 piece of polymer clay every 3 seconds. But since we get because we get 16 pieces of polymer clay from each piece of lapis, we only have to make a piece of lapis every 48 seconds. And lapis, you tend to get more than 1 per ore. If we process it optimally, I think we can even get like 12 and 13 on average per ore. But since I'm using a pickaxe, we tend to get probably slightly less than that. It's around 10 per ore. Still good enough. I'm not worried about the difference between 10, 12, and 13. So if we get 10 per ore, we only need a piece of lapis every like 6 minutes or something like that. Nothing at all to worry about. We make this stuff plenty fast. All wired up now. So there's an item conduit leading into this mechanical user, the placer, and I have a system set to shut this placer off when there is sufficient lapis in this drawer here. First of all, I appear to have upset an enderman. Could you stop? I'm trying to explain how my system works, buddy. What? Do such... Oh, now I've upset 2 endermen. Excellent. What more could I have asked for? We need to get one of those aversion obelisks on Ender IO soon to prevent enderman spawns. But anyways, the vacuum chest up there leads into this set of drawers, and then this set of drawers leads into that set of drawers. On this drawer specifically, which is the lapis drawer, I have a redstone upgrade which emits proportional to total fullness, which means if this drawer ever has more than about 1/15 redstone, this will emit a redstone signal of 1, which is enough to turn off that thing. So basically this runs until we fill up this drawer with lapis, and this drawer holds a tremendous amount of lapis. I might need to put upgrades onto the other drawers around here as well, but essentially that drawer is primary storage. This drawer is only for overflow. That way we won't run out of we won't throw away the outputs from our orchid just because we filled up these drawers here with our deep map learning stuff. Cool. So anyways, last step, and I might not even do this step right now, is to deal with the pickaxe situation here. But right now I'm mining it with what previously was my pickaxe. However, this pickaxe is not unbreakable yet. How could I check? It is... What is its unbreaking level? Reinforced 2. So it needs 3 more modifiers to be unbreakable, and it's going to take it some time to get these 3 modifiers if I leave it in here. It also has a bunch of useless traits on it, like haster, right? The haste doesn't do anything. So I'm going to make it a new pickaxe. This will continue to be my pickaxe, and then we'll try to make it unbreakable, although it might not be able to start off that way because we need... Well, here, we'll just make a pickaxe and see how many modifiers we need to make it unbreakable. The only requirement for this new pickaxe is that a component be made of firewood. We can either do the rod or the binding, but making the rod out of paper gives a bigger durability malice than making the rod out of firewood. So I figured we'll do firewood, rod, paper binding, the end head, just because that's easy to repair. And we need to slap a lapis on that to give that up to fortune whatever. I think that's like 400. So actually we don't even have 400 lapis yet. How about we just let this sit in a chest? What chest am I not going to get it lost in? Let's just let you sit here until we get enough lapis. For now, let's move on to our next thing. And I think that will be the the nether variant of this. So we need to first make a orchid ingem. Recipe isn't that bad. Magma slimes are trivial to make now. Alright, so in addition to this though, we need a source of nether rack, and unfortunately, nether rack's a bit trickier to make. We can duplicate it in a conjuration catalyst pool, and that's about the only great way to make an infinite amount of it for now. I'm thinking actually I'll just provide our orchid with like 100 stacks of nether rack and call it good. You know, when it's done with 100 stacks of netherrack, you can take a break. I think we'd run into a roadblock eventually. So to make the actual orchid, I need a magma slime crystal. I thought this was just a whole bunch of magma cream, but no, we need orange slime balls. And this requires orange slime trees or blue slime matter, but I believe this sapling only comes from deep mob learning blue slime matter. Perhaps if we generate enough chunks in the end, it would be possible to find it, but I think it's probably easier just to do the slime thing. So anyways, I think that means I have to summon a blue slime via the summoning altar. Let's see what its recipe was. And then we can make a data model for it. And then once we get the data model sufficiently leveled up, we can use that to generate the pristine matter. So let's see the recipe there. I think slime was on here, right? I remember looking at this before. Here we go. Very easy recipe. It's conceivable that, oopsies, if I get a single blue slime, we'll be able to convert between green slime and blue slime using the using compacting drawers. So maybe 1 blue slime. Please, I should use a looting weapon, huh? My looting weapon's up in there, so I guess I don't have a looting weapon. Slime ball, please. There we go. So in some packs this works, and some it doesn't. Let's test it out. If you put a compacting drawer and then place... Nope, doesn't look like it'll work. If it compacts blue slime, actually... There's one more thing that might work. But if you can get it to show blue slime and green slime together, you can convert between the slime types. What I should do first, though, is turn this into the slime data model. There we go. And apparently that was an advancement. Where'd you go? Worst case, I have to kill 6 of these by hand. But let's see, if I get 1 more... I should be able to make the block. Didn't get the slime conversion to work, so I'll just summon enough to fully level up our data model past faulty, and then we'll just run it in the deep mob learner, or in the simulation chamber. I don't believe there was a trial key for blue slime, was there? It can do slime, but I don't think it can do blue slime. So this is good enough. Let's get our... Ooh, we can eat this apparently. Never had one before. Makes us slow. Do not recommend. Alright, But we'll run it in here at least briefly. I don't need much blue slime date, pristines, but I need one piece. So the first one might take a while because it's only 5% per. Took 23 cycles to get one blue slime matter, but one is all we need for now. In fact, I'm just going to get the slime ball directly so I don't have to bother growing the tree. That was the last step to make the flower. Now we have to get mana into the nether to use it, because as you can see, this only works in the nether. So I'm thinking instead of copying our entire mana production system over to the nether, we can take advantage of the fact that mana tablets can store mana. Obviously, that's what they're for. But they can also be transferred as items interdimensionally through stuff like ender chests. So what I'm going to do is set up a system that will fill up our mana tablets on here in the overworld, and as this fills up, it will pull in mana from our mana bank and then transfer these tablets via ender chests to the nether, where we can empty them into mana pools, right, using a similar system like this, and then send the mana tablet, the empty tablet, back here to be refilled. So this is a way of doing interdimensional wireless mana transfer. I guess all mana transfer is wireless. There's no such thing as a mana wire, but this is interdimensional. To fill mana tablets, I'm going to use integrated dynamics to drop the tablet with the item exporter and pick it up with the item importer. I choose to do this just because this is one of the easiest MBT sensitive forms of like to place items in the world and pick them up. So I have two variable cards programmed here. You can't help, but trust me that one is programmed to match the full tablet, one is programmed to match the empty one. Just in your logic programmer, if you select these are items, select item, and then you can just do this to set it to a given thing, right? So that's the full tablet, that's the empty one. Make sure when you make these that you, like, because we can't view the MBT data on it, don't get them mixed up, because you'll never be able to sort it out again. So anyways, what I want to do on this side is to place item place item entity for empty tablets and pick up item entity for full tablets. These have a little bit of range. I think if I throw this tablet here, it should even be able to pick it up. Okay, maybe that's a lie. I thought world item importers had... Let me double check to make sure that check damage, check MBT true. I guess it doesn't. Is it only one block range? Will it pick it up? Okay, so I guess it only has the one block range. For some reason, I thought these had like a 7x7 range, but maybe not. Likewise, if I place this empty tablet in there, it should get dropped, where it'll sit in the pool, soak up mana. If I set my mana pool to the right mode, it'll soak up mana. As it soaks up mana, it gets recharged by the battery. And then a little while later, it should end up, when it gets fully filled up, it'll end up in here. So this is the overworld side. Let's make sure it's just in one of our chunk-loaded chunks. I'm not actually sure how far a base extends. I can't quite see the base up against the background here. Let's just chunk load a bit more, because no harm in it. But anyways, yep, there we go. Now it's picked up, and in this ender chest, I have a matching ender chest somewhere on me here. I'm going to make a couple of the other components, and then we can go set up the mana pool on the end side. Another side is basically the same, except we reverse the two. So the world item exporter places full... Oopsies, that's the tablet item. It should place full tablets. We'll put the variable card in, and it pulls the one out of storage to place it. And then the importer could pick up empty items. So pick up item entities empty. So when this empties out, which will be right about when it's hits a half mana pool, it'll go like a tiny bit over because I accidentally put a couple drops of mana in there. But we should see that mana, this new mana pool will get picked up, and see the one I put in here was actually sent to the end side mana pool. Wait, I said end earlier. This is another side mana pool. It was sent to the end side mana pool to be filled. So this is full now. Why are you not picking it up? Pick up item entity. There must be a slight difference in MBT data. That's why we test things. I want you to pick up this mana tablet exactly. I'm kind of curious. What is... Why is that different from this? Count. I think that's because I set this tag with a freshly crafted mana tablet, which you see here, it doesn't have a 0 mana tag in it. So I guess, yeah, it's just an MBT data difference. No biggie. The tablets don't have a despawn timer, so this mana tablet will just sit here indefinitely until we use the mana. So we don't have to worry about, you know, picking up the item every 5 minutes to refresh it either. As far as I know, mana tablets never despawn. Be awkward if it does. But let's fix this real quick. Make sure we set the item with an exact copy of the mana tablet after it's been drained. So it'll be a 0 mana tablet, not a no MBT tag mana tablet. Put that into here. Pick up item entity. That should pick that one up. No, it won't pick that one up because that one's not quite that mana tablet's not quite empty yet, I presume. Yeah, it still has a tiny bit left in it. All right, let's drop that. Here, we'll drop all our mana tablets here. You know, I know how to fix this. All right, we're just gonna void the entire mana pool of mana for purpose of testing it. Drop these new tablets in. When they empty, they get picked up. And we have the same problem of the MBT tag thing, except this time on the item placer on the end side. So let's head back there and fix that. So put the, let's see, place item entity. There we go. So now it drops these. Multiples at a time is fine. It's capable of filling multiple, or I think it's only capable of filling one at a time. But pretty soon this will get filled up. So let's head back to the end side. And then we can set up our flower. I'm actually going to make a spare conjuration catalyst and take that with me as well, because that's how we make endstone. And by endstone, I totally mean netherrack. So I slip the catalyst down there. If I just throw that in, it'll explode into a whole lot of netherrack. And yeah, it's more or less a self-sustaining process. So obviously, I don't want infinite netherrack, but what I'm going to do is just that. Set up a drawer. Here is fine. And this will hold a whole boatload of netherrack for us. So much netherrack. I already have 1,000 pieces. Alright, this is probably enough. I'm gonna run into a point where it's kinda difficult to turn this off, huh? Mistakes may have been made. There we go. Nope. Give me all the nether. Oh. It stopped because I ran out of mana. Alright, you know what? A good enough reason to stop. Alright, I buy. Didn't mean to pick up the mana pool tablets now. Cool. So anyways, there's our netherrack. We'll just use this to fund the flower. I'm going to use a mechanical miner on this side too. I think most of the ores here don't even benefit from the auto smelt, right? Like, well, I guess, but they still benefit from fortune. Even if, right, quartz benefits from fortune, Certus benefits from fortune. Charred Certus benefits from fortune. Never mind, I'm not going to use a mechanical miner. I'm going to go back to the overworld, make myself another fortune pickaxe to do for the pickup side. But for now, let's set it up just like this. So a flower to do the work. A mechanical user to place blocks. Let's put it here. And then I need an item filter too, so that I only... because we want to place regular netherrack, not compressed variants. I'll use that pickaxe we set aside earlier for this. It thankfully only takes one modifier for fortune. So by using one modifier, we get fortune 3, and then with the remaining 3 modifiers, I'm going to put unbreaking modifiers, so it has a 60% chance to not use durability. And then after it levels up 2 more times, we put the other 2 on, and it'll have a 100% chance to not use durability, at which point we never have to maintain it again. Copying the mechanical user setup from the end to here, there seems to be an issue. This pickaxe does not have enough mining speed, I think, to work on pulse mode. So what's happening right now is it's hitting it briefly, but it's not actually succeeding at mining it. Oh wait, there it goes. It broke it eventually, but it did take it some time. Oh, it's also only obsidian mining level, huh? And some of these ores can be like this ore. is higher tier than obsidian mining level. All right, two problems. First of all, to fix the issue with it just not getting enough, oh, I have to stay within a chunk here. It's a bit difficult. But yeah, to fix the issue of the pulse not being long enough, I'm going to set it to redstone on, and then just give it a timed redstone pulse. So we'll generate our... I do this. I have to fit it all in this chunk. But we'll use a pulse extender to extend the length of the pulse coming from our hourglass, such that it is long enough to activate for it to actually mine the thing. Second of all, I'm going to swap the head out for some material that is faster mining speed. I guess we'll use the dark steel head again. Actually, let's use cobalt for the pickaxe head, just so we get the extra mining speed. I have a feeling that'll make our lives slightly easier. And I swapped the redstone pulse generator to a integrated dynamics clock. So this thing is great because we can set both the interval with 1 tick precision and the pulse length with 1 tick precision. So here we can generate more or less whichever form we like. In fact, that pulse length might be a little bit too long because we saw there it's remining, like it's mining the oh, you know what? I have a better idea. Instead of setting the pulse based on the timer, why don't we just read the block? And if the block is not air, not aluminum, or not air and not netherrack, we can send a redstone to the mechanical user. That way we can deal with lots of different hardnesses. Yeah, it's a much better idea. Jimmy, why didn't you think of that sooner? The block reader tells us information about the block it's looking at, so we care about whether or not there is a block, as well as what that block is. What we want to do is compare block to this here, which is just a constant block value for netherrack. First is, I guess we want not equal, right? We want, is the block it's looking at not equal to netherrack? If that is true, and there is a block, so here I want... And if this is true, right, this is whether or not there is a block, and that block is not netherrack, then output a Boolean value. This last Boolean value is what we emit on the redstone writer. Uh-oh. Operator. Oh, right. And then I have to put the reference variables into the variable store so that I can see it. And then I need to put it in this one. There we go. So it'll mine the block there, wait until it turns into not redstone, or not netherrack. As soon as it becomes something other than netherrack, it mines it. We get our products in here. That it should never produce another brick now. This was produced when it was mining too soon, but it'll produce all these other things. And then as soon as the block gets mined, a new block gets placed. Eventually the orchid turns it into from the netherrack into a block, and that'll eventually go through all 7,000 netherrack we have there until it's done. So with this, we now have automated production of these various ingots here. All I have to do is add a way to store these, so I'm gonna go back to the end and add these to our to the wall of ingots we have. Although first I guess I have to pipe these items into an ender chest. Of the nether resources, charged Certus quartz can't be compacted, and the uranium ore we get from it is, it doesn't auto smelt, so we just get that in ore form, but everything else is here, and now we have fully automated production of all the ores in the nether and the end. So this will really help us going forward because basically we don't have to do resource collection anymore. All of this stuff is generated from the power of TNT, and we have tons of this left. TNT is made for free as long as we have overworld matter. Spoiler, we don't have overworld matter right now, but I think I'm gonna add a drawer for this. But we have like hold on, zombie is overworld, witch is overworld. That's not. So 3 of our things are making overworld matter. If it comes to it, we can try to set up creeper simulations, although I don't know where I'm going to get my I guess we can get our initial creepers from the deep mob learning trials, because I think creepers can directly make let's see, creepers, yeah, can directly make gunpowder, whereas right now I'm making gunpowder from overworld matter, right? So every creeper sim has a 42% chance to make a stack of gunpowder, as opposed to, well, in addition to producing an overworld matter, which is guaranteed to make 16 gunpowder. But honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Eventually, our mana consumption is going to slow down when all of these fill up. Like once our mana battery is full, this thing only has to run to keep up with our mana consumption, which, while it's pretty high, it's 2 orchid actions every 5 seconds. That's quite a bit of mana, but it's less than the rate that it's like our current mana generation produces that and then some. It'll gradually fill up our mana bank while powering all of our systems at once. And let's wrap things up for today by just making sure we have... Did I look at you? I didn't look at you. Don't do this. Why are you so annoying, Enderman? But, let's queue up a bunch of iron to turn into steel. I doubt we're through what we queued up earlier. Oh, well, okay, never mind. There's something queue. I haven't been chunk loading this server, or I haven't been offline running this world, single player world, so our steel process is a little slow, but we'll need that next time as we get into all the pneumatic craft stuff, which is made from steel. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.